Well, it's been a hot minute since I've been on YouTube. Last I was on here, I had my 78 Scottsdale, which is I still have, don't worry about it. It's sitting down there. I did get the motor swap done on it. The 454 is in. It does run, sort of. It caught on fire twice, but neither time was really my fault or the motor's fault. It was pretty much the truck's fault. Anyway, I have another square body since then. Actually, I've had two, but the other one I've already sold. This is the one I bought after it. It is my 1977 Chevy Bonanza K20, full-time four-wheel drive. It's got a V8 small block 400 in it with a turbo 350 automatic transmission. I believe the 203s are full-time. It's got dual tanks, factory dual exhaust. It's got the yellow paint inside the trim, which is a 1 year only option for 77. It's pretty optioned out. It's got tilt steering, cruise control. It's got an electrical clock, just an AM radio, but the interior is super clean on this truck. It did not have a crack in the dash when I bought it. That actually showed up just a few days ago. The dual tanks did work when I bought it, but they went out about a month after I bought it, which they came from the factory that way, so, you know. It's a pretty nice truck, actually, and it's got some rare stuff, like AC, and AC's not rare, but it's desirable. That's pretty much, I mean, it's not too special. It's got this cargo light that does that, which it's only got 109,000 miles on it. The rockers are super clean on the insides. It's a little chewy, but nothing terrible. Doors shut really good on it. I drove this truck for a couple months. Bought it off the original owner. It was his dad's truck, and he passed away, but technically it was a tax write-off for their farm, so technically it was still the original owner since it belonged to their farm. Anyway, it did not have this bug shield on it. If you remember correctly, this came off of my brown K20. It developed a rod knock a few days ago, Wednesday. Today's Sunday, so yeah, Wednesday. I think it's a rod. The truck was running super rich, and I think the oil lost viscosity, and it smoked a rod bearing. It may have washed out the cylinder walls, but I don't know. I'm going to get into the motor and see what's going on. But I got to pull the motor out of it, and but before I can do that, I got to put that back together. So this 350 came out of a mobile home. Supposedly it had super low miles on it, which I kind of believe. The motor's in decent shape. The lifters just lost their prime. I didn't know that. I thought they were shot, so I pulled the head off. Turns out it was a good thing I pulled the head off because these cylinder bores pretty pitted. And the block needs machine work now. I'm not really looking to dig into a 350 that far. I had made a deal with a buddy that I was going to trade this motor for the big block I put in my brown truck, because I very soon realized a full-time four-wheel drive transfer case probably wasn't the best thing to put behind a big block. Also, I'm planning on restoring that this spring, and I want to do a stock build on it, so I figured a 350 would be really good, considering the original motor was junk. But I put a new timing chain on it, a new oil pan and timing cover gasket on it, and then realized the motor needed work. So this is just going back to him. I'm going to keep my big block for now. And then I've only got one engine stand, so this motor needs to get put back together. I got to put the head back on it, put everything back together. He is not really using any of the lifters. He's going to put a cam in it and he's going to put a cam in it and a He's gonna upgrade the springs and these rocker arms and whatnot. And so I don't need to really keep any of that in order. I do need to keep the heads somewhat nice because he is planning on using those. He's gonna use the block, you know, obviously. But so yeah. The other thing is this could be a cracked flywheel. Somebody was telling me on my TikTok account, which is go follow me at Big Pecker Becker on TikTok. Someone was telling me that they had a flywheel that cracked and it sounded just like a rod knock. So I don't know. They were also saying it could be a lifter, but I pulled the valve covers off, and I guess we can get under here real quick. That opens up really nice. I pulled these valve covers off. I haven't even bolted them back on. I didn't really see the point in it because everything under here feels really tight. I didn't feel anything that was collapsed. Nothing was loose. It was all pretty solid up here. And they were all getting oil, so I'm not too worried about any of that. So I think it's a rod, but I'm gonna pull the inspection cover off and see if it could be a flywheel first. Considering this truck is as rare as it is, and that I bought it off the owner, I don't want to sell it, and I don't really want to LS swap it either because it's so original. It's in such good shape. I don't really want to mess with it that much. I mean, it's a nice truck. I did paint these wheels, but other than that, I haven't really done a whole lot with this truck. That is a new carburetor. It's just a quadrant jet. He took it out of the box and put it on. I don't think he adjusted it at all, which is okay. When I went and bought it, the idle speed was set so low that it would die at a stoplight, and I had to drive it 3.5 hours home. So that wasn't going to work. I had to stop at a Casey's and adjust my idle speed. And like I said, it's running way rich. You can see how black the oil was. So there's no water in the oil. So I did not crack a water jacket. The rod didn't hit anything and crack it or anything like that. I am expecting to buy a new crankshaft, but I don't know. I'd like to reuse as much as the old stuff as possible, like pistons. There's only 109,000 miles on them, so I'm not too worried about it. But wear items like camshaft, lifters, piston rings, bearings, all that stuff's getting replaced. I'll probably get a new distributor for it. I may get an aluminum intake, but I don't really want to mess with it too much. But I would really like this truck to be reliable. I may, you know, at the end of the winter, get this built and decide I want an LS and put an LS in it. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. But this truck was really built for pulling. It's got a big block radiator. I don't know if the 400 small blocks all came with big block radiators, because they were bigger and their water jackets weren't quite as big. At least I don't think they are. Or if it was an option, or if maybe they upgraded it at a dealership. I also know it's got an aftermarket transmission cooler. It ties into the factory transmission cooler. So actually, I never really have to worry about that transmission getting hot. But I don't really like the turbo 350s, I have to be honest. And I don't think one really belongs in a 3/4 ton truck. A farm truck, really. I mean, let's say you've got a heavy duty bumper on it. And I have used it to pull. I've pulled a tractor on a trailer. But that transmission, it's weird. It like revs the shit out of the motor. So if I pull the motor, I may swap a turbo 400 in it. Also, this truck's geared super low, so that's not helping anything either. But turbo 400 is way stronger. It's going to last way longer. So I don't have a video running with the rod knock. I got it home, shut it off. Figured I probably shouldn't run it anymore. Then than I have to, because I don't really want to screw the the crankshaft up, because like I'd say, I'd like to reuse as much as possible. And also I'm worried about the rods. I'm also worried about the connecting rods losing roundness at the base, because I wouldn't think it would, but you never know. It's rock, it's nothing, so that might throw something off. I don't know. Anyways, there's some mystery fluid laying underneath it. I don't really know what that's from, because last I was under there, I didn't see a rod sticking out the oil pan. I don't think the knock's that bad, but it's bad enough. I can't really drive it or start it or run it anymore. So the motor needed a build anyways. I think the piston rings may or may not be cracked, because I think this motor was shut off hot a few times, and that typically means it's hard on piston rings when you shut stuff off hot. You could crack them, and I think that might be what happened. So yeah, I don't know what happened on the AC brackets, but I'd like to get a set of those and get a compressor for it if I put this motor back in. Paint it the original blue color. I don't know why, but I really like that color. I like orange too. See, this motor came out of a 76, so that was the last year for the orange paint. 77 was the first year for the blue paint. Then like 85, I think, was the first year they just started painting them black. I don't know. Probably. I'm not sure. But after this motor comes out, I'm just gonna run a ratchet strap across the frame rails up underneath the transmission to hold it up. I'm gonna push it off in the weeds, and no, I'm not gonna do that, but I am gonna push it off, and it'll sit for the winter while I'm getting this motor built for it, and then come springtime I'll get this motor put back in it. So that's pretty much the plan for this truck. I'm really disappointed that it did this, but I should have got that damn carburetor tuned. But this is what happens when you just live with the problems and just go with it. I mean, I should have just fixed it. I mean, this truck has, minor problems. Speedometer don't work. AC obviously does not work. Just little things. The clock somehow is on time. I don't know how that's even possible, but it is somehow, so I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna climb up underneath there and see if I can't get that inspection cover off and see if that flywheel's cracked.